Good morning. Good afternoon. Welcome to April 19. And we already have the advice of non-federal countries settle address media to speak on various national issues relative to the recent report.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we want to welcome you to this press conference by the Most Rural County Senator of the Law. You read or speaking to you, at which time we'll take a few questions. It's all yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome. This is a statement read by me, Senator Ibrahim Darius Dillon of Monserrato County, welcoming the latest U.S. government sanctions imposed on 3 of the CDC Weah-led regime. My fellow Liberians, home and abroad, I don't usually come to you so hastily on an issue of such national importance. As the Senator of Monserrato, the latest action taken by the government of the United States of America against 3 very senior level officials of the CDC Weah-led regime. As you may be aware already, yesterday, the same being August 15, the United States government, through its Department of Treasury, imposed sanctions on 3 officials of the Nathaniel McGill, the Minister of State and Chief of Staff to the President of Liberia, was sanctioned. The sanction was not for stealing from the Liberian people. According to the U.S. government Department of Treasury, Nathaniel McGill, quote, bribed business owners, received bribes from potential investors, and accepted kickbacks for steering contracts to companies in which he has had interest, unquote. Mr. McGill also, quote, used government funds allocated to other Liberian government institutions to run his own projects made of the board. Can you imagine that? The United States government found that Mr. McGill organized warlords to threaten the opposition. How can the president continue to keep him as Minister of State? The second person sanctioned is the Solicitor General of Liberia, Sema Serenius Cephas. Councillor Cephas is sanctioned for, quote, receiving bribes from individuals to drop charges against them. He receives money so that he won't investigate money laundering cases, unquote. According to the U.S. Department of Treasury, Councillor Cephas, quote, shields money launderers and helps clear their name through the court system and has intimidated other prosecutors in an attempt to quash investigations, unquote. How can such a character, a corrupt character, be the quote-unquote chief prosecutor of Liberia? He has never investigated the deaths of 4 auditors who died mysteriously a few months ago. civils and the justice system will almost never concern themselves with the three missing Liberians. Ellie Cochran, the lady who embezzled money from the airport authority and later found to have also stolen about $6 million from the United States government through the COVID-19 business support. CFAS, Solicitor General of Liberia. How on earth is the president keeping him in our office? The third person sanctioned is the managing director of the National Port Authority. According to the U.S. government Department of Treasury, Bill Traore Court orchestrated the diversion of $1.5 million in vessel storage fees. The funds from the NPA into a private account. Traore secretly formed a private company to which, through his position at the NPA, he later unilaterally awarded a contract for loading and unloading cargo at the port of Buchanan, unquote. That's what the U.S. Department of Treasury has exposed. Do we know, ladies and gentlemen, that $1.5 million can, what $1.5 million can do for the people of Liberia? For education, healthcare. We have no drugs in our country to treat our people. Some schools have no chairs and desks for students. But one man has the audacity to steal, and I didn't say allege, $1.5 million from the Liberian people. It is my view that this is pure evil. Miguel, President Weah, Samuel Tuah, the Minister of Finance, operating in this country. President Weah, Samuel Tuah, the Minister of Finance, Miguel, the sanctioned Minister of State, and the sanctioned NPA Managing Director, Bill Traore, are the only 4 officials of government of Liberia that know how an entity is operating at the free port of Monrovia and imposing additional economic hardship on business people that is triggering to the ordinary man, the end users of the goods that are being brought through the free port of Monrovia. This is another economic corruption and economic means by robbing the people, cheating them. At the free port of Monrovia, it is only President Weah, Samuel Tuah, Nathaniel McGill, and Bill Traore, the only 4 officials of government that know what CTN is doing in the free port of Monrovia since 2019. The authority that brought CTN, but yet CTN is operating in Liberia only under the auspices of President Weah, Samuel Tuah, Nathaniel McGill, and Bill Traore. And sadly, this legislature, of which I am a member, has proven to be even spineless in going after the CTN for us to know its legal standing and the threshold investment it is doing in this country, and what value is it adding at the free port, for which it is imposing additional economic burden on our people doing business at the port of Monrovia. Fellow citizens, the corrupt practices in which these men, the 3 sanctioned officials, were engaged have both national and international negative implications for our country. The sanctions ensure that our international partners will no longer deal with them. The international partners, especially the American government and partners of the American government, by these sanctions, will no longer transact or do business with these sanctioned individuals. And once they are in the virtue of the positions these sanctioned officials hold, if President Weah fails to fire them, it sends the message that he agrees with the corrupt practices and the harm they are causing the Liberian people. At this point, every Liberian must be angry about this, righteously angry about this. If the president means well for our country and people, he should be angry as well. I am today asking President Weah to demand the immediate resignations of Nathaniel McGill, Serena Cephas, and Bill Trabway, because a mere pronouncement of suspension, the mere pronouncement of a suspension is not enough. That suspension was announced so that the action taken by the U.S. government will not form a distraction on the president core name of County Tour. Let me repeat. As senator, I am today and now asking the president to demand the immediate resignation of Nathaniel McGill, Serena Cephas, and Bill Trabway, because a mere suspension is not enough. The president should also direct the Minister of Justice and other relevant agencies of government to liaise with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to request support from the U.S. government so as to commence an immediate the Minister of Justice and other relevant agencies of government to liaise with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to request support from the U.S. government so as to commence immediate investigation and prosecution of the 3 men and all others previously sanctioned under his regime where applicable. The culture of impunity must end and must begin to end now. We wish to express our heartfelt thank you to the government of the U.S. for the steps taken to help us bring to book violators of the public trust. We urge the United States government to keep engaged and encourage them to continue these measures against all such other persons whose family. May God bless Liberia and save our state. Thank you.
Okay, we take 3 questions. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Stormont Kennedy and I report for Radio Boucher. Senator, the U.S. government has come up with such report and the president an hour or 2 ago suspended the officials in question pending investigation. What if the president does not take any further action? Is there any way that the Senate can come up with a vote of no confidence?
The Senate come up with a vote of no confidence. The issue is the Senate does not have the majority courage to sustain a vote of no confidence. It will declare a vote of no confidence in this minister, and the president doesn't want to remove that person or act upon them. That majority is supposed to honor the vote of no confidence issued by the body. But this body, I don't trust it. Sadly, painfully, if we have courage, collective courage for the country, the sake of the country, President Weah wouldn't be dancing buka, trust me. This mere pronouncement of suspension, let me repeat, is political. It is deliberately intended in a corny way to divide County Tour of Monserrado County, where he wants people to cheer at him and not ask him why he having criminals and rogues around him. So he said, you don't distract my County Tour, I'm going to announce your suspension. If the president is serious, he will ask McGill and the rest of them for the resignation as well, so that through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we can seek the kind of assistance from the U.S. government. What kind of assistance? They have given an outline of issues and acts committed by these people. The U.S. government did not just draw up these allegations. They have proof. And they want us to fight corruption. They have started the process. And once we demonstrate concrete good faith action and ask them to assist in gathering the evidence for prosecution, but President Weah's announcement of suspension does not carry me for a second because it's political.
Gentlemen, before we have two more, the front page.
Sir, in December, come December, the president is expected to visit the U.S. on invitation by
U.S. ambassador said, and we must take keen note of that, these sanctions are not sanctions against Liberia as a country. They are against individuals who are hating and abusing the public trust to help this country to bring them to book, to punish them public trust and taking our resources for themselves. The president's invitation by President Biden, as much as I am an opposition, I won't fight against it. They to the White House. President Weah, like all other presidents in Africa, going to attend one big conference of African leaders. So it's not a special invitation. And even if it was a special invitation, that at some point we got to suspend the opposition jacket and look at the bigger picture. President Weah is eating today with all the corrupt people around him. The people in West Point and other places are not eating. So sometimes in fighting President Weah, we got to be careful not to hate the people in West Point.
Okay.
Thank you, Senator. I'm President Smo. I work for Prime FM. Senator, the three persons named in the conversation we're having are not the first officials of this government that have been designated by the American government. The last time we checked, two are really into that.
Yeah, that is why we put ourselves on record. So the record and history, they call it posterity, can judge us either harshly or kindly. You remember, we resisted the election of Councillor Sherman was already on the leadership. He was not up for election at the time, right? On the leadership of the Senate. Senator Prince Johnson was up for election. Few of us from the opposition, we insisted that we would not vote for. When Senator Prince Johnson was left alone on the ballot as white ballot candidate, Senator Nyomli Kanga Lawrence, my political leader, Liberty Party political leader, and Senator of Gambasa County, was requested as the only to do the casting of the white ballot in the name of the Senate. And as a senator, I advised her no. In fact, on her own judgment, she had already decided that it was not the prudent thing to do, because to cast that white ballot in the name of the Senate would be voting for the majority. I mean, he was a white ballot candidate. But we have clearly resisted, and we spoke to the media regarding that. Of course, the U.S. Embassy sanctioned the both of them. We brought pressure to bear on the both of them. Up to today, I'm still asking, why is it that we caused Senator Prince Johnson to leadership of the Senate, and Senator Vani Sherman is still there? And those of you in the media have continued to hear some of us speak to this. Even in public plenary, Senator Jonathan Bolger have asked Senator Vani Sherman to recuse himself from the judicial. No courage here for us to act on them. So it makes us sometimes to lose our standing to demand the president to do likewise with people that serve at his pleasure. The reason I, Senator Dillon, I have the courage and the voice to speak, because I spoke against Prince Johnson and Vani Sherman, and we insisted on the record that these people were not fit subject to be on the leadership of the Here is election